Hey everybody, Josh here with a look at another Star Wars toy. And today we're going to do an unboxing video. Today we are going to unbox an Inferno Squadron agent from Battlefront 2. So let's go over to the toy studio and get into this girl. Come on. Alright guys, here we are today with a Star Wars The Black Series figure. And this is an Inferno Squad agent. And this figure is actually a GameStop exclusive. You can see the little sticker right there. And if you're not familiar with this type of trooper, it's kind of a newer creation that came out within the last year. And it is actually linked to a video game. So I don't know how many of you guys out there, I know this is a toy collecting channel, and I don't want to get into doing a game review right now, but this is linked to Battlefront 2, the video game, and it's on all the current generation consoles out there. And me personally, I would say I'm what you call a casual gamer, and you know, I play a little on the weekends. That's about it. It's not an everyday thing for me. But I do like following the Star Wars games because some of them are very well done and they have some cool story modes, stories in them. And this is a good example of that. And if you're not familiar with what an Inferno Squad agent is, it is basically like a special operations stormtrooper. I guess they would be the equivalent to maybe a Navy SEAL of today. And so I know this agent looks very similar to a TIE fighter pilot, and I'll show you the differences when we get them out here. And you'll see some of it's like the red highlights on the helmet. And the reason they're wearing a pilot's helmet is because they're supposed to be such special troopers. They can fight on the ground and they can fight in space. So they're ready to hop into a spaceship at any moment and take off and do air combat or space combat. And that's why they look very similar to a TIE fighter pilot. And when we get her out of the box here, we are going to unbox this today. You'll see how it's her outfit, or I keep calling her because if you play the game, and I'm just going to say in general, if you're comfortable playing a third-person shooter game, I highly recommend that you pick up Battlefront 2. It's very good, very well done. And what they did is they teamed up with Lucasfilm, EA Electronics Arts, the game maker, and they collaborated together and they put a story mode together that is actual canon. Now it is set in the time period right after Return of the Jedi, right when Death Star 2 blows up. And it goes up all the way till The Force Awakens. It covers almost a 30-year span. Not totally, it kind of skips big time gaps, but it's a multi-mission story mode that you play through, and you play through the missions, and in between the missions you're going to see long cutscenes that are Star Wars story related, and Han Solo makes an appearance, Maz Kanata makes an appearance, Luke Skywalker makes an appearance, Princess Leia makes an appearance, Kylo Ren makes an appearance, and they are adding to the story mode. So recently they put out what's called downloadable content, or DLC, and they added a couple chapters to the story mode, and you see the main character in the story mode is a character called Iden Versio, and she's an Inferno Squadron agent, and she's one of their commanders, and she's a female. And as the story progresses, you see her age, and her daughter comes up, and you start to see her daughter's story, and that was the newer part that was most recently released. So if you're interested in something like that, yes, good game, I highly recommend it. But let's move on to the figure review. That's why we're all here. So anyway, as you can see here, it's linked to Battlefront 2. There's what the game logo looks like. And before we open her, I want to just check out the packaging, and I apologize, I'm going to keep referring to her as her because I have played through the game, and when I look at this character it makes me think of Iden Versio, and so I want to call her. But if you're familiar with Black Series, you know most of them are numbered. I have the Jango Fett box right here, and as you can see, he is number 15. But when it's a store exclusive, they do not number them. So again, this is a GameStop exclusive, so there's no number on her. And then on the back here, you have a nice drawing of the character and a description of what an Inferno Squad agent is. And I'll read that to you guys real quickly. In the wake of the Death Star's destruction, the Empire created the Inferno Squad to ensure that Imperial secrets would remain safe. Their fierce loyalty to the Empire and exceptional skills in both aerial and ground combat set this squad apart from the rank and file troopers. So, just in case you might see pictures of this character or people cosplaying as it online and you may not be familiar with what an Inferno Squadron agent is, there you go. That is the description. And if you really want to get into it more, get the game and play through it. But let's get into this thing. I'm dying to handle this figure. I've been sitting on this thing for a while, and I'm pretty excited to open it. But there you go. Very nice. And again, like I said earlier, it's a mix between a TIE Fighter pilot outfit and a Stormtrooper outfit. And so let's get her out of there. Very nice. And then, of course, she comes with the E11. And it doesn't really come across on camera all that well, but it kind of has some gray highlights to it to give it the appearance of a little wear and tear. So, very nice. But we'll check that out a little bit later when we put it in her hand. Okay. And I'm already seeing she's a little bit stiff. And the helmet does not come off. That's the first thing I want to know too. So, okay, let's check her out here. And as you can see, it's pretty much a TIE Fighter pilot helmet. And she's wearing a black flight suit. And if you look closely here, and I know it's kind of hard to tell because she's wearing all black, and that doesn't film really well. Trust me, I got a lot of lights pointed at this thing right now. And as you can see, the belt she's wearing around her waist here is very much like a Stormtrooper's belt. And you can see she has a holster for the E11 on the back here. And we'll check that out here in a second. And she is wearing a little chest armor, chest plate on the front and the back. And when you play the game, if you decide that's something you want to do or you've done already, you'll notice too when they show the Inferno Squadron agents, there's several of them. They all wear their outfits a little bit different. Some of them have like ammo belts slung diagonally across. The main character has actually a little tiny probe droid that attaches to her back that she can send out to do little tasks and things like that. And this looks like I thought this might be Iden Versio, which is the main character, and it's not. It's just a generic Inferno Squadron agent. And you can see there's a little comm link on the arm. There's the Inferno Squadron emblem on the shoulder, Imperial emblem on the helmet, and the Inferno Squadron emblem on the other side of the helmet. And the hosing here is got a little bit of flexibility to it, but it does not. Oh, it does come out. Very interesting. I didn't think that would happen. Okay, so does the chest piece come out? No, it does not. Okay, so I don't know why they did that, to be completely honest with you, but you can disconnect the hosing on the helmet. Very interesting. I don't see any other place to tuck it away or attach it. And let's see if it comes out here. Nope. Okay. I don't know why they did that, but there you go. You can take the hosing off or out of the face. And if you look, you can see there's no armor on the lower part. She's just wearing like flight suit pants. So let's go ahead and put those back in though. Okay, so no problem. Okay, so let's run through the movements real quick. So On the head, you have side to side and a little bit of up and down. And as you're going to find if you collect figures, some of the armored characters, sometimes the movement gets a little restricted due to the armor, and that's kind of the case here. The head doesn't move all that much because of the giant helmet she's wearing. And so then looking at the arms, of course, you have round and round and up and down. And okay, so some of the Black Series figures you can actually rotate right here at there's another point of articulation right here above the elbow, and she is done a little bit different here. The rotational point and the up and down of the elbow are put together in one point of articulation, which I think is a little better actually. I like that. Makes it feel more whole. And then, let's see here, looking at the hands, you should be able to get a little more movement. There we go. Just a little stiff, but you have up and down on the wrist and a rotational movement as well. And let's see here. So, on the waist movement, you only have side to side, unfortunately. And a lot of the Black Series, if you're familiar with the Black Series line, sometimes they put the waist articulation more like the mid-torso, and they didn't do that with her because she's wearing a big piece of plate armor. And I know it's hard to distinguish the armor from the flight suit because the armor's black and the suit's black, but if you look closely in my poor lighting, you can see it. She's wearing a big piece of upper chest armor. And so due to that, the only way her waist moves is side to side like that. And looking at the legs, you're going to have up and back and forward at the hips. And then you're going to have a rotational movement on the upper leg right here. And knee movement up and down, back and forth, and ankle movement up and down, and actually a additional rotational movement on the foot. All right. So let's take a little bit closer look at. There we go. Come on. Trying to see if I can get her to stand up here. Okay. A little bit closer look at her hands and the gun and the blaster. And I know I say this in a lot of my videos if you watch, but one of the things I really appreciate about these Black Series figures is their attention to detail. They put a lot of attention to detail in these things. And one of the things I think that's really neat is they put the trigger finger out. And you can see it here on her hand. There's a trigger finger actually out. And when you put the blaster in her hand, the finger will line up with the trigger finger, and it looks really cool. It looks really a lot more realistic than your typical 3 3/4 inch action figure. And then if you look at her other hand, you can see that they don't have the trigger finger out. It's more of a open fist. And again, it's just due to the all black figures are a little tough to film, guys. I apologize. So let's check this out. Let's put the blaster in her hand, and there you go. So if you look closely here, you can actually see how the trigger finger, and this one isn't the best lined up one I've come across, but oh, there we go. Wow, the actual finger goes into the trigger guard. Very cool. Oh, let's see if I can get the camera to film that. But there you can see it. Very nice. And you can put the gun in both hands, I'm assuming. Let's make sure before I go say that. So if you want to switch it up or whatever, you can put it in the other hand. But you're going to lose the trigger finger. And you can see the difference, how when she's not doing that, it looks kind of silly, like she's just grasping the handle. And how are you going to shoot that thing? There's no... Okay. And so, again, figure collectors will know what I'm talking about. And you can see the difference, how much better that looks. And I hate to use the term realistic for a toy, but you know the point I'm trying to make. It looks a lot more authentic. Okay. Okay. So, oh, and one last thing I want to check out is the holster. I'm a big fan of actual action figure holsters. I love them. So you can see, just like a typical stormtrooper, she has a large holster for the E11. So it just slides in there and it stays in there very well. And the way you know how to put it in is if you look at the blaster, you'll see on one side there's a clip that sticks out, and they have a cutout in the holster for the clip, so you just slide it right in there, and she's holstered up. Very cool. Okay, so let's get this blaster back in the blaster hand. Okay. And one of the things that makes it a little tricky, you can see the gloves she has here have these big gauntlet pieces, and they're solid, so you have to kind of rotate the hand around it so the blaster doesn't hit it, or it kind of pops the blaster out of her hand. So, all right. Come on, we need a good action pose. All right. And there you have it, guys. This is an Inferno Squadron agent from the Star Wars Black Series. This is a 6-inch figure. And thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. Bye.